New comic book day is upon us again, so let's take a look at the books coming out, and I'll tell you what's on the pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the Pull List. It's my weekly video series where I take a look at the slate of new comic book releases. This time we're looking at Wednesday, May the 8th, 2024. And I'm going to tell you what books are on my pull list, what's on the chopping block, and some other books, maybe new number ones that are on my radar this week. And maybe they're on your radar as well. Let me know. Now, before we get started, I usually like to start these off with the book I'm most excited for. But first, hope you guys had an amazing free comic book day weekend. I actually spent my free comic book day volunteering at Ultimate Comics Raleigh. So I don't know. It's just, I like to spread the holiday cheer. But anyway, I went and my job was to help keep the dollar bins stocked, as well as to greet customers and explain the rating system. I love free comic book day because that's when all the kids come out and like, you get to make new comic fans. You get to see the excitement on the kids and the parents. And they're like, free? You mean it's really free? And they feel like they're getting away with something. And it's like, yes, they're free. Take them. Anyway, had a good time. Just in case you missed out on free comic book day, a lot of the comic book day titles are making their way to the internet. So DC has already put all their free comic book day books on the DC Universe Infinite app. I assume that Marvel will follow suit, probably this Wednesday when they load the newest batch of issues. So be on the lookout for those. I did also see listings on Comixology for the IDW books as well as the Dark Horse books, in addition to DC. So if you don't have the DC Universe app, DC books are already on Comixology. You can grab them for free and read them in the Kindle app. So there you go. Be on the lookout. Now, also, just in case any of you guys are in the Raleigh area and you didn't miss out, I did not catch Flash Gordon or Gotcha Man, which were two books I was pretty excited for. So if you have a line on a copy of Flash Gordon issue 0, the Mad Cave free comic book day release, look out for your boy. Let me know in the comments down below. We'll connect because I need that. I need that. Anyway, if you missed out, check the listings online. You'll find pretty much everything, at least from what I could tell. Anyway, let's go ahead and start this off with the book that I am most excited for this week, and that is Ain't No Grave, issue number 1. It's a brand new number 1 from Image Comics. It is written by Scotty Young with art by Jorge Corona. You may recognize that creative team as the team behind The Me You Love in the Dark. And previous to that, they did Middle West, which I particularly loved. I have it in a hardcover. The art in it is amazing. The story's pretty good too. Well paced. I liked it anyway. Kind of sad, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. Anyway, the Ain't No Grave. I said Ain't No Way. Ain't No Grave is billed as a fantasy western for mature readers. I did read like a 3 or 4 page preview on the Comic Hub website, and it looks really interesting. It definitely like has some blood, right? And it does have a mature rating. So I am on the lookout because I assume that mature rating is just because of the graphic nature of the violence or the results of violence, if you will. But there may be some other like unsavory things in the book. So I'll let you know. But Scotty Young and Jorge Corona typically aren't like going that crazy. It shouldn't be like Conan or anything, or I don't know, some of the Brubaker stuff I've read. But anyway, all that to say, Ain't No Grave, issue number 1, a fantasy western for mature readers with blood, with coarse language, assumably. I'm excited about it. I'm going to try out issue 1, and if I like it, it's going to end up on the pull list for good. Cover price on this one is $5.99, grabbing cover A. And since we started off with the indies, let's continue with some indie titles this week. I am grabbing Geiger, issue number 2. Geiger, also from Image Comics under the Ghost Machine label. This one is written by Jeff Johns with art by Gary Frank, colors by Brad Anderson, I should add, because that team, that is the 3 Jokers. Well, excuse me. That is the Superman Brainiac team. 3 Jokers was Jason Fabok. But all that to say, you've seen Jeff Johns and Gary Frank on plenty of things together before, and they are a match made in heaven. They're the Doomsday Clock team. There you go. Anyway, Geiger, if you didn't follow the story in Geiger from like the first volume before Ghost Machine was announced, I didn't either, and I don't feel left behind. All you need to read is that Ghost Machine preview issue from a couple months ago, and then read Geiger #1. You could honestly get by even without reading Geiger #1, but I think that Ghost Machine preview adds a little bit of context. But Geiger follows this dude, Tariq Geiger, who, in a nuclear accident, lost his family and gained these radioactive powers. Although he doesn't see the powers as a gift, they are very much a curse. This guy is very much like the anti-hero lone vigilante in the same vein as like Wolverine. He's a reluctant hero. He has like a sort of gray moral code, but he does not want to be crossed. And in this new series, he gets like a sort of sidekick type character. There's a guy who wants to help him achieve his ultimate goal of being cured of the radioactivity and having to be the glowing man, as people are referring to him as. So he reluctantly takes on this sidekick. He's not a superpowered guy. He's just a guy. And, he's helping him along while the guy helps him along. And they're being chased by some entity that we don't know about just yet. So all that to say, Geiger, very interesting debut issue. I'm hooked. I'm going to grab issue 2 out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the indie pull list this week is from Ram V and Lawrence Campbell. It's The One Hand, issue #4. The One Hand, The Six Fingers. You've heard me talk about them each month, but in case you're new, they are 2 series that are one. They're interconnected. So The One Hand follows this Detective Ari Nasser, who was just about to retire. And then all of a sudden there was a murder, and the murder fit the profile of a serial killer that he put away ages ago. So that means there is either a copycat out there, or he put the wrong guy behind bars. And so he's decided, instead of turning in his resignation papers or his retirement papers, he is going to follow this case through until the end. And in The Six Fingers, we find that there is a guy with a mutated hand, that's why he's got 6 fingers, who is apparently committing these murders, but there is a supernatural element to it that doesn't allow him to know that he's committing the murders. So he's being chased by this detective. Meanwhile, he's trying to follow up with the detective to get answers as to just what is going on. I left off of each of these with I read issue 3 of The Six Fingers, not The One Hand. I got to get caught up. But issue 4 is out this week with a cover price of $3.99. Grabbing cover A. And next up is Transformers, issue #8. Transformers from Daniel Warren Johnson and the aforementioned Jorge Corona. If you were worried that after issue 6 there would be a dip in the quality of art since Daniel Warren Johnson wasn't doing everything anymore, I am pleased to bring you the news that this book is still awesome. And if I'm honest, I think the book looks better, or at least reads better, with Jorge Corona's art. There's definitely something that Daniel Warren Johnson brings to every book that he does, as far as just movement, kineticism, if we want to call it that, and just the page layouts and the action and all of that, right? But Jorge Corona sort of brings a technical ability that you would associate with a Transformers book without making it look stiff. Like, this doesn't look like, not to pick on it, but Astrobots from Whatnot Publishing a few months ago. This isn't that. It's a different vibe. It's not like trying to be Gundam Wing, but you get a little bit more form, a little bit more structure to the Transformers without sacrificing the action and the movement. So I liked it a lot. And the story is still just as good and emotional as it's always been. Every time these Transformers win, it does not come without a great price. And we get really cool moments. So the Energon Universe Free Comic Book Day issue did tease the return of a long-awaited character. And I believe that same long-awaited character is going to make an appearance in this issue. So be on the lookout for Transformers issue #8, out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's going to be it for the indie comics on the pull list this week. As long as I stick to the list, those will cost me $18. not a bad week. Now, let's go ahead and since there's only one of these on the poll list, let's talk about the DC book that I'm grabbing, and that is Batman issue 147. We're in the part 3 of the Dark Prison storyline. And stop me if you've heard this plot before. Okay, so we got an evil bad guy who has taken over the city. This time, the evil bad guy, the evil guy, is Failsafe. Failsafe, or really, it's Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, who has taken over the Failsafe robot armor and is basically like, hey, Gotham, look at me. I'm your captain now. And so we get, him bringing his own brand of vigilante justice. Over the last few issues, we've been seeing just how tied in Batman, Bruce Wayne, and the Joker are, how their lives have intertwined over the years, and how the Joker helped set this whole era up. And that's cool. But basically, Failsafe put Batman in jail. Batman, in order to get back and save Gotham from Failsafe, he's gotta leave Gotham and get his strength back for a little while. So if that sounds like, I don't know, The Dark Knight Rises, or I don't know, The Joker War, or City of Bane, or even Fear State to a certain degree, it's a line that we've tread over and over. But even as I'm like, we've done this like 6 times in the last 5 years, I still like it. Chip Zdarsky is really adding something for me with this whole addition of the analysis of the relationship between Batman and Joker, bringing new depth to it, crossing their paths in a way that you may or may not see coming, depending on how much you've been reading. Really interesting stuff happening, even as this plot point we've seen over and over again. What does not hurt at all is Jorge Jimenez on art. Man, that book is the best looking book on shelves every month that it comes out. And I'm excited to read it again this week. So Batman 147, is he going to stop Zur-En-Arrh? Is he going to come back stronger? Who's going to help him rehab? I don't know. We'll find out. Cover price on it is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it. That's the only DC book on the pull list. That'll cost me $5 as we move on over to the House of Ideas and see what's popping at Marvel Comics, starting with The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 49. The Amazing Spider-Man 49 is a Blood Hunt tie-in. So if you've been enjoying the story so far, this ain't that. This is Peter Parker crossing paths with vampires because we got to. It's a company crossover. You didn't get the memo? I got the memo. So there we go. It's not like The Amazing Spider-Man was doing a whole lot anyway, but I had been enjoying it since about issue 45. Like, since the end of the gang war up until now, it's been interesting. It's been moving a little bit quicker, and there's some interesting things being set up. I'm excited to get to those again when we get to issue 50. But for now, we'll take a quick detour through the Blood Hunt event. And if you like it, then you can continue and read the Amazing Spider-Man Blood Hunt one-shot that's coming later this summer. I don't know. Call me back when issue 50 is out. But anyway, Amazing Spider-Man 49 out this week with a cover price of $4.99. This one shouldn't be premium price. But anyway, $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. Speaking of, I don't like any other cover. I don't even like cover A, but oh well. Next up on the Marvel Comics pull list is Fantastic Four, issue number 20. Fantastic Four by Ryan North. I've been enjoying. I feel like I'm up and down on it, not because it's bad, but because every issue is a one-shot, and sometimes I like the one-shot story, and sometimes I'm like, this one was cool. But all in all, I'm really enjoying the series, and this issue apparently focuses on the Thing. I don't think I read the last issue, focused on Sue Storm. I gotta fix that. Anyway, Fantastic Four, issue 20. Survive the chopping block. It's still on the pull list, and I'm grabbing it with a cover price of $3.99. Grabbing cover A. Next up is Wolverine, issue 49. Wolverine, this is the Sabertooth War, part 9 of 10. And just so you know, this is the penultimate issue of Wolverine. Wolverine by Ben Percy is ending with issue 50. And we know from the solicits or from these teasers that Marvel's putting out that Greg Capullo is going to be on the relaunched Wolverine series. We don't know who's writing it just yet. So that's going to be interesting. Can't lie. The end of an era. The fall of X is very much warranted. I'm ready for the Krakoa era to end. But A nice high point has been the interplay between X-Force and Wolverine. X-Force came to an end a couple weeks ago. Wolverine's coming to an end next month. I'm going to be sad to see that corner go, but that is going to be among the things that are definitely worth revisiting when all this is over. I feel like the story of Wolverine ended before the Sabertooth War, like with issue 39 or 40, whichever it was. But if you're going to go out, you got to go out with a bang. So the bloodiest event in Wolverine's history is the Sabertooth War. Part 9 is out this week with a cover price of $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the last book on the pull list this week, speaking of the fall of X, this is X-Men Forever, issue number 3. X-Men Forever. It's almost like the X-Men are immortal. Oh, this is a follow-up to Immortal X-Men by Kieran Gillen. In case Immortal X-Men ending, threw you off, don't worry, it's continuing. Basically, this is the continuation of Immortal X-Men, filling in the gaps between Immortal X-Men 18 and the Rise of the Powers of 10. I don't know. I don't get Marvel's publishing schedule. I'm so behind with all these miniseries. We had the Resurrection of Magneto, which basically continued X-Men Red. We got X-Men Forever, which basically continued Immortal X-Men. We got Dead X-Men, which basically continued from the Hellfire Gala. And meanwhile, we still got X-Men and X-Force and all these other books in between. And if that reading order sounds crazy confusing to you, me too. That's why I'm behind on all of it. But X-Men Forever issue 3 is out this week. It's still Kieran Gillen, which means it's still necessary to everything going on. I'm grabbing it with a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting cover A. And that's it. That's the last Marvel book on the pull list. So if I stick to the list, that one's going to cost me $18 and pretty light week. I say light. My grand total is $41, which means I can afford 2 extra comics this week, which is good because there are a few on the radar. Some new number 1s coming out this week that are on the radar for me. First up is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Black, White, and Green. Issue number 1. This is a new anthology. You've seen, we had the Superman Red and Blue, and then we had the Wonder Woman Black, White, and Gold, and then we had Darth Vader Black, White, and Red, and Moon Knight Black, White, and Red, and Harley Quinn Black, White, and Blood, and we get it. We're doing black and white with spot colors with all sorts of characters. And now IDW is getting in on the action with a Ninja Turtles variant. And I'm a sucker. I always want to read a good Ninja Turtles book, which means I end up picking up all the Ninja Turtles in hopes that they're going to be good. Not to say that this is going to be bad, but I probably buy way too much Turtle stuff just because it's Turtle stuff. And when I get to the shop on Wednesday, this book is going to be in my box because I'm already subscribed to the main Turtles. And that's just how it goes. If you subscribe to the Turtles, then we'll put all the Turtle stuff in your box. And it's optional if you didn't actually pre-order it. But you know me, once it's in my hand, I'm probably going to buy it. But I'm going to thumb through it first. Something about the whole spot color thing doesn't always work for me. And I've stayed away from those types of anthologies in the past. But I could possibly make an exception for the Turtles. There is a Declan Shalvey story in it after all. But TMNT, Black, White, and Green, issue 1, out this week. Cover price is $5.99, and that might keep you away from it, but there's cover A. Next up, a brand new Black Label book. Another thing I usually stay away from, Black Label, especially when they're Batman related, because you already know they're going to get collected, and there's way too much Batman out there. But this one is a book by a single writer and artist. The writer is the artist, is probably the better way to say that. This is The Boy Wonder, number 1, by Junie Ba. My bad. Didn't mean to bury the lead there. It's a book about Robin. I don't know if it's Dick Grayson Robin or Damian Wayne Robin. It's a book about Robin. And again, I didn't read the solicit. I don't even know what the summary of it is. It's just a book about Robin. What's really got me interested, that's cover A. But what's really got me interested is there is a Cliff Chang cover B with like Robin and Nightwing and Batgirl. And that was really good. So that implies that it's either Tim Drake or Damian Wayne as Robin, right? But anyway, the cover is why I like it. Cover price is $5.99. And the last book on the radar, and this is probably going to have a definite spot on the pull list this week, and that is Crocodile Black, issue number 1. It's written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, art by Somnath Powell. And it's a crime thriller. It's going to sound a little bit like Blown Away from a couple weeks ago. There's a guy who witnesses a murder somehow. And now he's got to help or not help. And it's a crime thriller. I don't know. Is it going to be like in the vein of like Disturbia, where it's like nobody believes this killer is a killer? I don't know. I just know the dude witnessed a murder. And what's really got me interested in this book, besides the fact that there's an alligator on the cover, and that's just different, we don't see that often, is the fact that it's written by Philip Kennedy Johnson. And there is not a book that I have read by that man that I didn't like. Even The Incredible Hulk, and I'm not even a Hulk guy, but Philip Kennedy Johnson, whatever his pen touches turns into gold. And so I'm expecting this to be really good, especially since it's not for the big two and he's a little bit more unrestrained. I think this one's coming out through Boom Studios, but Crocodile Black #1 out this week. If it's at your shop, maybe check it out. And those are all the books on the radar this week. Let me know. What are you grabbing? What are you excited about? How was your free comic book day? And what book did you like the most? I didn't even tell you guys, but there was a lot of really good stuff that came free comic book day. Probably my favorites. I love the Uncanny X-Men preview that we got in the Blood Hunt book. I could care less about Blood Hunt, but the Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone, she got me hooked. The Energon universe, cool stuff, although I'm still not sold on Void Rivals. The Ultimates by Dennis Camp, that one's going to be good. You're not going to see that reveal coming. I'm excited about that one. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming out, but let me know what you're excited about, which free comic book day books hooked you, and what you're excited to see moving forward. I'll see you guys in another video soon. Until then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.